Hey y'all, we have launched our very own merch on the Letters 2 Media merch store. We have a bunch of good looking t-shirts and hoodies. If you want your own Haddonfield Horror merch, click on the link in the description.
Well, according to our kind hosts, our dreams are a group psychosis, sort of a mellow mass hysteria. The fact that we all dreamt about this guy before we ever met doesn't seem to impress anybody. So we go in circles, making minimal progress with maximum effort.
You won't make any progress until you recognize your dreams for what they are.
And what are they?
Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark,
I'm Rudy.
I'm Maria.
and today we're watching A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors, released in 1987, directed by Chuck Russell and screenplay by Wes Craven, Bruce Wagner, Frank Darabont, and Chuck Russell. Maria, can you give the people the plot summary?
Picking up where the original Nightmare left off, Nancy has grown up and become a psychiatrist specializing in dream therapy. She meets a group of children at a local hospital facing Freddy Krueger, the same demon she once encountered in her sleep. One of them is Kristen, who has the power to draw other people into her dreams. Working with a doctor assigned to the case, Nancy helps the kids realize their special abilities within the nightmare world. When Freddy captures one of her charges, she leads a rescue attempt into Krueger's domain, hoping to put his spirit to rest once and for all.
Maria, this was your first time watching Dream Warriors. What did you think? Especially compared to the last one.
I mean, I liked it. I feel like not just compared to the last one, but compared to the movies we've seen where kid mental hospitals and there's a slasher going after them. I feel like this movie did really well. It really balanced it out, even though they had the whole dream stuff going on. That I feel like could have easily made it mediocre, but it didn't. It was really cool. I really liked it. I also really liked the kills.
What about you, Rudy?
A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 was somewhat my least favorite. It was in between. I like the fact that they brought back Nancy. I just don't like the storyline because it's just all over the place in my opinion. The only good thing I love about this movie is the death scenes and the 80s vibe and the music. And that's pretty much it. But the acting from the majority of the cast members is pretty cheesy. They're just horrible actors.
Well, for me, this is actually my favorite Nightmare movie. This is the first one I ever saw. It's good. I enjoyed the story. I think the story's good. The whole them having to put Freddy to rest. The whole spirit thing, the nun. That was. I still don't get that choice, but it was a choice that they made to do. But besides that, I like this movie, especially Kristen and her dream power. The whole concept of dream powers, I think that was pretty good. But Maria, what are some standout scenes from you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
I liked the scene. I don't remember what her name was, but the girl who wanted to be an actress, where she gets killed. That scene was pretty cool. I liked Freddy's one-liner calling her a bitch, and then he just calls everybody a bitch after that.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. From the prime time, bitch.
I liked the where the first kid died, the puppeteer guy. I thought that was pretty good too. I don't know, it's just something about veins really kind of freaks, exposed veins really freaks me out. So that scene was oh my god. And Joey, going around and trying to wake everybody up. And him, trying to get everybody's attention, even though he can't talk. And also the scene where they're in the dream world and he finds out that he can talk, and then he that was his power. I thought that was really cute.
Wow. Did I say that?
A lot of the Freddy scenes too, when he's a worm, when he's the puppet in the mirrors, that stop action clay thing they had going on with him, I thought was pretty cool.
For me, I think one of my the scenes that stood out for me in a good way is definitely Welcome to Primetime, bitch. Mostly because I like the little like they like Dick Cavett and Zsa Zsa Gabor are like randomly in that had like a random cameo. Like that was a random scene, and then that scene where Kristen pulls in Nancy into her dream for the first time, and like Worm Freddy comes out, and he just like sees Nancy, and he's like,
Oh my god.
also when we see Nancy for the first time, because when it's your first time watching it, you kind of don't expect to see Nancy, and then when you do, it's like, oh shit. And she still has that gray streak in her hair from the first movie. And like my favorite part about this movie is how it ignores all that weird shit from the second one. But what about you, Rudy? What are scenes that stand out? Good, bad, and different.
The scenes that stood out to me the most is I don't know why. Even as a kid, when I watched this movie, like the intro when I keep forgetting her name. The one that
Kristen,
yeah, Kristen, when she's making like the
paper
sticks.
mache.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So she's making that, making the Freddy house or Nancy's house or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. And I remember when I was a kid, me and my brother used to like try to copy that scene, and we actually made like homemade glue out of flour and I don't know what else, and it was hilarious. It was messy. It did not come out like the movie, so little Miss Kristen let us on for no reason. That was one of the scenes that stood out to me. So when the other character girl, the female with like the mohawk, is walking, and it's such a New York City like alley '80s scene where she shoots up. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Okay, asshole. Let's dance.
That was a dope scene. I love the entire like atmosphere. Another scene that I didn't, well, scenes that I didn't like so much was, like I said previously, the majority of the actors were not that great of actors. And I think the only one that stood out was obviously Nancy. But oh, and then my boo Lawrence.
Yeah, I love you too.
But other than that, it was a typical Friday movie, and for it being the third one, it did feel like a typical I mean, sorry, a nightmare movie. Um, it was just kind of repetitive, the whole dream sequences and stuff like that. So yeah,
But I always felt like when people, if you've seen the rest of the movies and then you watch this one again, this one feels repetitive because I feel like going forward, they piggyback off this movie specifically. Like everything they introduce in this movie comes up again and
later
again
on,
and
yeah,
again. So
that's
like
probably what it is.
this one isn't repetitive, but like the dream powers, like the
Yes,
all of that keeps coming back up for the rest of the series up
and I hate
until
that.
like yeah. So like this is the one that the rest of the series is modeled after. So when you
Hmm.
come back to this one, it's like, oh shit, didn't I already see this? It's like, oh wait, this is where it started.
I agree. That's probably what I mean then. But um, I don't know. It just seemed repetitive and that now you brought it up, it makes much more sense to me. So the audience listeners out there, pardon me, Marcus said it way better than I did.
I know, cause no, cause I get what you mean. Cause when I was watching it, I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh, with the things I'm thinking about how it's like I've seen a star ratings because like oh
Well,
I watched the other ones and all of this shit is the same. I
I,
mean,
yeah, you know what I don't like you mentioned the powers. Like I feel it felt more scarier in the first part and even second part because they seemed defenseless, like they couldn't be saved in their dreams by Freddy. But now with the third one up until the aftermath, during the franchise, I cannot speak for the life of me today. Sorry guys. Um, I just feel like giving the characters powers in their dreams only ruins the suspense behind it all. Like, I want to be
you want to be
vulnerable.
afraid like the kids can
Yeah,
actually like
yeah,
my thing was like why did I only have one power? If I'm gonna have like a dream power, like where can I be like fucking Superman? Why can't I have like multiple? Why am I limited?
exactly. I don't know. It's just my opinion though. Like I feel like they should have just kept them like normal people in dreams, being terrified by Freddy. It would have made it more scarier.
I mean, they could have still been in like the mental hospital because they're afraid to go to sleep, and they could have figured out about. They could have found some other way to like find out about like how to bury his bones without having the powers being added.
Yeah,
Or it could have even been like, oh, the doctor is making them have like a shared dream experience through a dream experiment. Like they could have used any explanation to get them into dreams at the same time. Because
that's true.
they do use a lot of what they introduced in this movie for the next like three or four, and it does get old pretty fast. But Maria, what did you think about like the dream powers?
Honestly, I don't know. It just didn't really bother me as much. I mean, the name of the movie was Dream Warrior, so I kind of assumed they were gonna have powers. I mean, it's really convenient that Kristen was like had the power to like bring them into the dream, and I also thought it was. I mean, I guess yeah. Like, I don't get what it was that they like. You know, I guess their powers came from what they lacked, because that one guy, didn't have, he like was in a wheelchair, then in his dream he can walk, and he was also like a um what was he, a wizard? And
Yeah, he was
Joey,
like Merlin. It was weird.
yeah, and then Joey,
Okay, Joey was cute. I'm just putting it out there right now.
yeah,
Just saying.
I liked him a lot. I don't know. I just don't, and I kind of figured that since Kristen was basically, had, I guess in a way the most powerful power, and all she did was acrobats, and I mean it helped her like when she needed it, but it was like, okay, so I
I
mean,
think her I think her powers only was only good is because she could pull in. It was really like a Power Rangers team up. Like Kristen was able to pull in everyone who had different powers, so they can like fight Freddy. It was like a Power Rangers team up moment.
yeah, and then Taryn, I think her name was, she was just
The junkie chick.
yeah, and she was just like, um what did she say? She was like, because I mean, she had knives, and I kind of figured, I don't know, she would have done some damage or something. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, I thought the concept was cool, especially for some like teens, but I was just hoping that it was more like, oh, as a teenager, I always wanted to have this power, and now I have it. Instead of like, this is my power, I discovered it, this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? I feel like that would have made a lot more sense than giving them weird powers.
But it's like if you're gonna give these kids powers, like go batshit crazy, go all out. Like why they have one power each? It's very convenient, and I guess it gives Kristen a reason to be there because she pulls everyone in. But enough of that. Rudy, Rudy, what are some kills that stand out for you? What are some of your favorite kills?
One of my favorite. Well, I have a plenty. Hold on, I did make a list because I be forgetting shit, and I have to start being more organized when it comes to these
There were a lot of
podcasts.
kills in this movie. I will
Yeah,
say that.
exactly. So one, obviously, one of my top favorites is the girl. Okay, help me with name. So the one I was telling you about, the rocker chick with the mohawk that gets injected,
Uh,
and like,
Taryn.
yes, so her body gets all like boily and gross and shit.
Let's get high.
Like that's actually true. That happens to people's bodies when they inject.
That
So
effect with like like the little like her old like injection points, the mouths were like opening.
yeah,
That
well,
creeped me out as a kid.
yeah, exactly. Like the whole, I don't know, the entire scene. I'm telling you, I loved it as a kid. Like the scenery, the alleyway. It just reminded me so much of my childhood for some reason. And so that was one of my favorite scenes. Another one, and I'm three on three. Hold on, I have my list right here. Hold on, y'all. I'm prepared today, somewhat. um, I like when he kills that one crazy. I don't want to call her crazy, but the blonde girl, and he's on a TV monitor, and she's basically just like decapitated or like fried inside the TV, and he makes like an inside joke relating to her death scene.
Welcome to Prime Time, bitch.
Yes, yes, that one. That was like an iconic scene in that franchise. I think everyone talks about that scene.
That's his one.
Hmm. And then my third one, I won't take them all up, but the third one that I like too is the exposed veins that Maria had mentioned when he's like walking in his sleep, and they make it seem like it was a suicide. That was a clever way of killing him off, honestly. And the veins, do they really look like that in person? I know I sound slow, but like I've never seen veins that thick.
It depends. It can.
Oh, shit.
I'm pretty sure that was also like some cartilage, like also attached to that because the way it was like ripped out.
Right. Well, those are my three top favorite scenes.
Well, for me, it's definitely the welcome to prime time, bitch. Like the whole like setup, and he's just like when he like pops out and just like grab her. That's it's my favorite one. But that's also when started a trend of Freddy giving a bunch of puns and one-liners for every kill, which they're all not as good as that one. Uh, Taryn's kill is one of my favorites. I like that. I liked when he killed Nancy
That was
because
iconic though.
it wasn't iconic, but I liked when he killed Nancy because like she was stupid in that moment. Like you're falling for this floating ghost of your dad. Like you saw how he died last time. It was like very theatrical, and you're just gonna go with whatever that ghostly vision was. I was like, no, she deserves this. She
I
deserves it.
fell for it. I was like, oh my god, her dad came.
Right.
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
oh my god.
no.
No, no. Well,
No.
I
I
mean,
was
it
like,
would have gotten
You were
me, I
crying, Maria
guess.
girl.
I was like, no. And then, oh, never mind. That kills the next movie. Okay, so Maria, what are some kills that stood out for you? I always forget how the wizard died. Like, I know I saw it, and I watched this movie 4 times before we did this, but I always forget how the fucking wizard died. But go ahead, Maria.
I think his death wasn't like
It was in a hallway, right?
yeah, he just stabs him. Like Freddy just like grabs him and just stabs him with his
Oh, yeah. That's
fingers.
the one boring one. Okay, yeah, never mind. But what are
Yeah.
some of your standout kills, Maria?
Um, I guess like the first one is the one with like the TV. Because like the way he like grabs her and like slams her into the TV, and then even like the aftermath looked really cool because the nurse walks in and she's literally just like hanging off the TV. Um, Also the one with the veins. I think it's because he was like a puppeteer, and maybe that's why Freddy killed him that way. But it was really cool, like the veins. Ugh,
Yeah, because he was like making them like marionettes.
yeah. It was just what I liked about this movie is that I felt more like personalized. I guess like he was like killing these kids based off like their interests and like I don't know. I thought it was cool. Another kill that stood out to me was also Nancy. Because honestly, like, it got me. Like, I really thought that was her dad. Because he literally had died earlier, like, we saw him die. And I was, because he comes back and he was like, I'm sorry, I've been so mean to you. And I was like, aw. And then And then no, I was wrong.
Wait, damn! Like the whole family's dead now. I just thought about it. Like the whole family's dead.
Yeah. And also, I guess like the scene right after that, where she kills Freddy, where she like stabs him with his own glove, I thought was also really great. Cause yeah, cause you definitely thought she was dead. Like I thought she was dead, and then she comes back as a one final thing.
I'm glad because she couldn't act. There was no improvement in between movies, even though she was on like a hit TV series. It just wasn't working for her.
You're funny. First of all, she did better than on. I'm not gonna get too crazy with it, but like on New Nightmare, she had horrible acting skills, and she was playing herself
she
allegedly.
she gets better, but not like she shouldn't be getting ready to like accept any awards for acting.
Yeah, no, yeah, she's no what's her face,
She
Anne
goes
Hathaway, but
she went from like the side character and like a McDonald's commercial to like starring in the McDonald's commercial. That's how better she gets, Maria. That's just me.
She was okay.
She wasn't Patricia Arquette. But keep going, Maria. What other kills tickled your fancy?
um, um, I think that's it. To be honest,
Did Lawrence Fishburne die? The black guy.
in the
I don't
movie or
remember.
in person?
No, I know Lawrence Fishburne is alive now. He's gonna be in the
Oh
new John Wick, but like, did his character die? I don't
no,
remember.
did
So
he?
there are a lot of survivors in this movie because the three Dream Warriors survive,
I think
plus
there's
that
only
doctor.
a total of 6 kills. I saw
The kill
Kill
count.
the
count
the kill count, yeah, and there's only like 6
out of
deaths.
all. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
so this is one of the few like slasher movies that has like of this time it has like a big survivor count because Michael only pretty much had like two, like one or two survivors, three if you count Dr. Loomis, and then you have Jason who either only the female survived or the female or her boyfriend or her brother survived with her. But like damn, Freddy, like you let a whole like crew survive. But from that to Nancy's dad, Maria, what are your thoughts on Nancy's dad? He was kind of a dick.
I've lost too much over this already. I'm through with it.
He was a dick. I don't understand why he was such a dick. Like, I don't
Does
know.
he blame her for his, the mom being dead?
I don't think so. I think he just couldn't handle the fact that there was no logical explanation why the mom is dead and that he had to like I guess he just couldn't accept Freddy. I guess he just couldn't accept that, the guy he that his because I'm from what they're making it seem is that he's the one who probably led the whole, let's kill Freddy Krueger way back when. So technically it's his fault that, a lot of the kids died, his wife died. I don't know. I feel like he just feels a lot of guilt and also just couldn't handle the fact that like, you know, that Fred that there's like oh my god, that there's like other stuff, like supernatural stuff, I guess. But he was a dick. Like I don't understand why he couldn't just help. I mean, he did what he did. Um and there's people dying. Like he literally saw people die. Like I don't understand.
What about you, Rudy? What are your thoughts on Nancy's dad?
I just feel like they brought his ass back for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe just to get more viewers, to get the original fans connected to the franchise again. But his reprise in the role, what was it? Yeah, like his comeback in general, like his role was not necessary. I feel like it was very much Billy in the 22 Scream. 2022 version of Scream. Like they just brought him back for, was he even a popular actor back in the day? I don't even know. But
And he kind of was before,
back in the day,
like a decade before the first
yeah.
Freddy.
So like maybe that's why they brought him back, because he, I don't know. His character didn't do much for me anyway, so I can't say much about him. He was something to see, yeah, to look at, but as far as character development, it was just like the same old douchebag from part one who was trying to be controlling and trying to like gaslight Nancy for whatever reason. So I don't have much to say about him, honestly.
Would you have anything to say about Sister Mary, or
Sister Mary,
AKA Amanda Kruger,
um, shit.
Freddy's mommy?
Yeah, the old lady at the cemetery. I mean, I don't. What can I say about her? I just know that she was basically a ghost. That's all she was.
Yeah, and they didn't really give us her backstory in this one. It
No,
kind
they
of
just,
like, mm,
I don't know. I feel like they just added her character for more backstory as far as like Freddy goes and shit. Like I don't know.
I mean,
The
they
whole movie.
did, it did, but like they don't really. They just like plop her into this movie, and
Yeah,
then they explain it in the next two. But even that is like horribly done because it still makes no sense.
yeah, it doesn't. The whole movie to me was like a dream sequence. It was just unnecessary stuff they added for whatever reason.
Yeah, because I was like, why are they talking to this ghost lady? I see if they were daydreaming or something, but like everyone's awake and they're seeing this ghost bitch. Like, I don't
Yeah,
like this.
it's irritating.
Ugh, daydreaming. That becomes important in like two more movies. But Maria, what are your thoughts on Dr. Gordon?
He was just kind of, I don't know actually how I feel about him. He was, look, for one, he looked super old. Like
Very.
compared to like whatever him and Nancy had going on, I guess.
That gave me weird vibes. Like, are you trying to like have sex with this young woman who could be your daughter?
Right? Like I was just like, what the hell? I don't know, it
He
was
was
weird,
cute though.
I guess.
Mhm.
But like I don't know, he was so bad. Like I mean I know that he was trying to help them, but I also feel like he was really bad with the kids. Like when after the first kid died, I think his name was Philip. After he died, and obviously everybody, who didn't really know about Freddy assumed that he died of suicide. He was like, like saying, "Oh, well, he gave up. He did this." Like you don't say that. Like he was like blaming him for doing what he did and like invalidating all these kids' feelings. Like are you not a doctor? Like what are you doing? Like I feel like that's just something you don't say to patients, especially to teens. After their very close friend died. Um I don't know. He did not seem like, I mean, for one, he was just kind of there, but like as a doctor, he was not qualified at all. It seemed like he was just kind of there just to push along the plot. He didn't really have much input, so, you know, he was okay.
I think he was just like part of like we need to have these kids in the hospital. We need to have them meet this way. So of course there has to be a doctor there.
Yeah, but he sucks as a doctor. Like I was like, I don't know. He was just not great, I guess. He was very just I don't know, it's like sometimes he would be like, "Oh yeah, I want to help the kids." But then other times he was like, "Well, I don't believe anything you're saying right now." You know?
Yeah.
And it was just like it was weird. Oh, I thought it was weird cuz it's like why like I don't know, cuz it was like why is he talking to them that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. If he was very creepy, it was very creepy, and he wasn't useful. And then like he was the one who was like, "Oh, we have to go bury Freddy's bones." Like, why was he the hero? Because if you think about it, Kristen didn't really kill Freddy. Like the doctor and Nancy's dad, well, pretty much the doctor burying Freddy's bones is what ended everything.
Please, God, for the children, for Nancy. Ashes to ashes.
So it's just like, okay, why is he important? And also, like every scene with him and Nancy just made me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like it was so weird. I just don't understand I don't understand what was supposed to be like going on there, I guess. Like
And then, because part two is set 5 years after part one, but they're completely ignoring part one. And I'm guessing Nancy has been to college and graduated already, and now she's in this program. So it's been like what 6 or 7 years. So she's only like 25, give
she
or
was
take.
literally, I think, an intern.
Yeah, so she's only like 25, fresh out of college. This man is like 40. Like, you're her superior. Back the hell up. And the kids around you are fucking dying. And
Yep.
you're too busy trying to flirt with Nancy?
Yep.
Well, all your patients are telling you, oh, we're having these weird dreams. Oh my god, now your patients are dying mysteriously. And you're just so slow on everything. But I can take long walks over the little bridge with Nancy.
Didn't they go like to eat or something? Like wasn't there like at one
Mm-hmm.
point where they were
They
like
were having like wine and everything. Like, excuse me, what the hell is going on here? Rudy, what are your thoughts on Kincaid?
Kincaid.
He was the angry black man.
um, he reminds me of what's that? Hold on, I'm looking him up. The guy from Big Burger. Was it Good Burger? Good
Are
Burger.
you talking about Keenan Thompson?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, was
He
it
looks
Kel?
just like him
No,
in
it's
part.
Keenan. No, oh my that you're he always reminded me of the guy from um what the hell? He always reminded me of the guy from Halloween Town, the old black guy. Actually, I think that might be him. But
Is it him? That's an older guy. I think it might be him. The same
it
character. The
might
same.
be him. Well, go ahead. I'm a
Oh yeah.
Google while you talk.
I like his character. He definitely brought like humor in the movie because everyone else was acting bland, like they were just there. But he added he. Oh, I wish I can skip to the franchise and tell you who he reminds me of in a different movie, but I'm not going to. We'll just wait. But
Wait,
yeah,
who? Like,
he brought
can you
the
say it? Can you say it without spoiling it?
the guy, the humor wise. I mean, the guy from Freddy's Dead.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about. I like
But
that guy.
yeah, I mean, I've always liked like humor, a little bit of humor added on to horror movies because it doesn't make it too blah, like too boring, to whatever. And this movie particularly isn't meant to be scary anyway, so might as well add some like spice to it, like add something to it, like add some humor, add do something with it. And his character gave me just that. And I like how they made him be like this strong, the strong one out of the crew. Like, how do I word it out? I hate Tuesdays. I just like his character, and that's all, really.
I was just upset that he was like mad all the time. I was like, is he supposed to be the angry black man? Because
No, he wasn't. I don't see him as angry though. I think he was just like too. He was tough.
Fuck you will. Anybody tries drugs on me, get his ass kicked.
And I like when they add like tough African American or like even minorities in general. Like
true.
instead of making him like the stereotypical like whatever the stereotype it is for African Americans, they added him as someone who's strong, who's like strong willed or good willed. Is that a good word? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I forgot. I did like some of the group therapy scenes, but my favorite
With him.
line, yeah, my favorite line when she was telling him like sex can be bad. He was like,
Great, and that's my dick that's killing me.
that was fucking funny. But that's just me.
Oh yeah, but was that meant to be like? I think he just meant it as a joke, though, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was funny. Maria, what about you? What are your thoughts on Kincaid?
I agree with what Rudy said. Like he was funny. And yeah, I also like that they did make him to be like the tough guy. Like he was like the strong one in the group. When he just like tore down that wall, I was like, what the fuck? When he was like looking for them in the dream world and he just like tore down the wall and he was like, I thought I heard voices. Like, okay. Um but yeah, I mean I liked him. I liked his character. Um yeah, I mean pretty much Rudy said everything that I was thinking about him because I mean yeah, like 'cause I don't see him as I mean he was mad like in the beginning, but I think it was mostly because of like where they were. I feel like a lot of the kids in general were just really mad about where they were. They just didn't like the staff. All they had really was each other. Nobody was really listening to them to begin with. But then, like, as the movie goes on, you see everybody kind of just warm up to each other and be there for each other, which I thought was really nice. They, like, everybody bonded. Um, but yeah, I mean, I liked him. I thought he was really funny. A lot of the stuff he said was so funny.
Well, what are your thoughts on Joey? Go
Joy,
ahead and Maria.
Joy was interesting though.
He was cute.
Yeah, he was. I wouldn't say he was cute like how you say he's cute. Like I feel like
Wasn't he
Lawrence.
cute, Maria?
I mean, okay, he was, but to me, the reason why I think he's cute was because I thought he was really nice.
Yeah,
He
well, like
seemed like a really,
exactly.
yeah, he
Oh,
was.
that's the worst kind of. You're cute because you're nice. No one wants to hear that ever.
But
What
it's
do you
true.
mean?
Personality is everything.
It is everything.
Hmm.
Not if you're ugly.
What?
Well, never mind.
Wait,
Never mind.
but you said he's not ugly though, so it
He's
counts.
not ugly. He's cute. Also, what personality? He was quiet the whole time.
But like Maria said, like his expressions basically, not talking, but like expressions. Like he was,
Yeah.
you know,
Like he was
he was a
nice. He was a
gentleman.
sweet guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a gentleman.
Like yeah, like he was cute. Like I know, I'm not, like he definitely, has a nice face to look at, but I think what really made me like think, "Oh my god, he's so cute," was because of yeah, cuz he was a sweet guy. Like he a lot of the yeah, like I mean, he when that one guy was gonna like jump off
And
and
you guys should look him up on Google. He looks even better now, actually. Joy.
oh really? I
It's
will.
Yeah,
like a physician.
I was like googling them when I was doing the research for the episode. I was like, oh, he aged well.
He looks familiar. I just can't think of who it is. But yeah.
Definitely.
Like John Stamos. What's his name? John Stamos? Is that his name? Let me see. John Stamos.
That's not John Stamos,
No,
but
but it
he
looks
looks
like
like
him.
John
Yes.
Stamos. Yeah,
Yes.
he
That's
looks
what he
like
looks
John
like.
Stamos.
As an adult.
Yeah, well, I thought he seemed I don't know, like a lot of the stuff he did was really nice. I know he liked that nurse and he was like helping her, and he just seemed like a very nice and sweet guy, you know, from No, he didn't. Well, he's a teenage boy. Teenage boy want to see a lot of things naked. Well, actually, I should not say that, but no. But I mean, he just seemed like a nice person. When him and that other guy, the one with the glasses, when they were like basically taking turns, staying up because of the dreams, and he was like actually up, unlike in the other movies, when people fall asleep, he was like reading, and he was also being, looking at the things around him because he's the one who noticed Phil about to like jump off, and he like dragged the other guy to the window to see, who somehow broke the window, and then he was trying to get everybody's attention. He didn't have to do that. I feel like a lot of people would have just watched it happen in shock.
Uh, Rudy, what are your thoughts on Joey?
Um, well, like Maria said, he was a sweetheart. He was a gentleman, even though he didn't speak or whatever. But his actions,
He was nonverbal.
nonverbal. I like that in a man, because got into me. I like. I mean, I can't say much about him because, like, again, he can't talk. I didn't fully connect to him personally because he was just there. But they the actor obviously made a really good impression of Joey the character. Like he really acted the fuck out of it, and it made me believe like he was actually a real um a mute per se. And I know he's not, but that's how good of an actor he was with it. Like he with the expressions, the emotions and stuff like that, it got you feeling like, damn, I wish he could talk so that he can tell us what's going on or like what he saw, or for him to tell the rest of the crew what did he see, etc. Um, but that's all I have to say about him. He's a little handsome, like you said. Not that I did my thorough inspection on Google, but that's all I can say about Joey.
What do you have to say about Nancy?
I mean, hello, she's the final girl. She's the baddest. I love Nancy. I
She wasn't the final girl this time. They took that bitch
dead, and
out.
that was the weakest death scene ever. By the way, I wish they would have made it more creative, like everyone else in the movie.
For the weakest link in this movie.
Dead, crucified. But Nancy's character though seemed more mature in this one versus the first one. First one, she was a little annoying because she was so stuck on the idea of Freddy. Oh, excuse me, guys. She was stuck on the idea of Freddy coming back for her, or whatever. In the first one, third one, she was more like a motherly mentor to the patients at the hospital. And even though her acting wasn't as great, she did show maturity compared to Nancy in the first part. So I give her props for that. Her character could have been a little bit more Laurie Strode-ish. I feel like they should have amped up her persona more to actually be likable as a person, but or as a character. But she was just, okay, you're back, you're mature, yes, but what else is she giving?
I feel like she didn't really change from the first movie. I feel like we've been getting the same character since the beginning, which I mean, I didn't really mind. I don't really like. I mean, I guess I don't mind because I know like a lot of things in this movie that wasn't supposed to make sense made sense. But I also feel like the Nancy in this movie was very much still the same teenager Nancy that we got from the last movie. Like I feel like she still kind of acts like that. But I mean, it was nice of her to still try to like, help the kids, and she's still trying to, yeah, to like to help out. And yeah, and I agree with what Rudy said. Like she did become a mother figure to a lot of them, because she was like the only, I guess, technically adult that like believed them and actually like tried to help them. She like you know really tried to like understand them and help, even though, I mean, not that it wasn't Nancy's problem, but like she kind of like found a way to kind of like keep Freddy off, like, off her tracks. So I feel like she didn't really have to go in, and deal with Freddy all over again. Um and I mean her acting wasn't bad. I mean, I don't really like, I guess, pay attention to it, but like, yeah, I just feel like we don't really get a lot of character development from Nancy. She's always been like from the beginning very much do it myself. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna, do what I need to do to defeat Freddy, and she does. And yeah, I agree. Like her death scene did seem. I mean, it got me. Like I swear to God, I thought that was her dad. So it got me when it happened. Um, but yeah, I guess I do agree that since she was, the final girl, she was like the one that got away in the last movie, that her death would have been just something more, I guess. I felt like it was like missing something. Um yeah. I mean I guess she was the one, and I mean, I guess like not the one who killed Freddy, but she's the one who managed to like stab him to stop from killing, Kristen and the other kids. So there is that.
Well, Rudy, what are your thoughts on Kristen?
Kristen, okay, let me start with Miss Kristen Patricia Arquette. Wait, that is her, right, Patricia? Yes. Okay, so Kristen, as a teenage actress, was the worst. Absolute horrible. Like, her acting skills were not even fucking all that great. She didn't even get better to like the 90s. And I know this for a fact because I follow her movies from the 90s, like Stigmata. She did really good in that movie.
I
Me
love
too. We have to cover
Stigmata.
that one day, by the way. Um,
It's on the
yeah.
list.
So her acting in this movie was so fucking distracting that I did not like her for shit. She was so fucking whiny. I do like that scene in the beginning where she's doing a paper mache, but her fucking screaming and crying throughout the movie. Oh my god. I just muted that TV every time she was on screen. Um they could have picked a better actress at the time. I mean, I respect her. She's obviously David Arquette's sister and, Alexis Arquette's sister, but she is not actress material. Well, sorry, let me take that back. She wasn't back then. She's gotten a lot better if you see her like recent stuff. Um, so what can I say about Kristen's character though? They try to make her like the new Nancy, but failed miserably. I feel like if you think Nancy was annoying, no, Kristen was definitely like, yeah. I don't know how I can even have tolerated that shit when I was younger. But watching the movie now, as an adult, I'm like, yeah, skip her scenes, just get to the good stuff because yeah, it wasn't it.
If you didn't mention it, I would have completely forgot that like this is the third Arquette sibling that we've covered on the show. Because we covered Alexis and Bride of Chucky, and we covered David Arquette because he plays Dewey. Yeah, so this is the third Arquette. I like Kristen. I like her powers, her personality. She's cool. The acting could have been better, but this was her first like big movie project or like big project in general. Kind of like Johnny Depp in the first one. This is like where they got started. So the like her having the power to like pull everyone in her dreams was pretty
That
cool
is
and
true.
interesting. What about you, Maria? What are your thoughts on Kristen?
Yeah, like I kind of agree with what Rudy said. She was like, I feel like for being the main girl, for one, she didn't really have any like huge scenes, and I kind of see why. Like her acting was just like, not that it was horrible, but it was like lacking, I feel. Especially cuz, I mean, ignoring the second movie, you kind of see Nancy in the first movie, she was like on top of things and she was, actively trying to fight Freddy, whereas in Kristen was kind of more like just going with the flow and like being thrown around by the people around her. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say she was useless because she definitely wasn't. But if it wasn't for like her power, then she might have been a little useless. I don't know. Like she just doesn't give me much. Like I mean, I don't know if it's her acting or if it's just like the character itself, but I feel like like after Kristen, got to that to the hospital, I feel like you don't really see much of her until like they need her. So she was just kind of there, I guess.
Yeah, she was pretty much just like the thing to bring everyone together. She wasn't really needed outside of that. But Maria, what are your thoughts on Freddy this time around?
The bastard son of 100 maniacs.
He was funny. I mean, I thought his kills were a lot more like creative, I guess. He was like, I feel like this time he was actively trying to scare the kids and like killing them in like really personalized ways, like with Phil or Philip, I forgot what his name was, but him with like the puppets.
He was having fun
Yeah,
this
like he really
time.
was. Like I guess he spent a lot of time killing, then he was just like, yeah, doing it for fun. Yeah, because of the way he killed the one guy with the puppets, and the way he messed with Joey, and the way he killed Taryn, whatever her name was. To be honest, her death I thought was really sad. Like I felt kind of bad for her because she was like really trying. I don't know. I thought it was sad, but anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, the way he killed her, um, and the way he killed, fucking Nancy. Like he was really just like going like beyond and like really trying to scare the kids, to traumatize them and to kill them in like different ways. And then like his one-liners were they were funny. Like I was like it was he definitely seemed like he was having a lot of fun. So I liked him. I liked this Freddy.
Sorry, I forgot to turn my oven off. But Rudy, what are your thoughts on Freddy?
They made Freddy. I feel like after the second one, and I think I mentioned this previously, they made him more humorous, and I didn't like that because he was so scary in the first one, and I wish they would have made him that scary and mysterious for the rest of the franchise instead of him having more like lines and jokes and whatnot. Like it just ruined his image. I feel like they should have just kept it like how they do with Jason and Michael. They don't fucking say shit. They're scary whenever they make an appearance, and that's what makes them them. But with Freddy, he's more like a Chucky. He's on Chucky's level, where they made Chucky into like somewhat of a comedian, and that's how I feel about Freddy Krueger. He was he was made from being this scary like nightmare demon to a comedian, and now we're laughing with him instead of being scared of him. You get me? So this movie was pretty much the peak where they finally made him into like this half comedian, half monster, demon, whatever you want to call him. They could have just stuck. Like I said, they could have just stuck with the first, the Nightmare Part One, Freddy, because at least then he was more like creepier and darker and mysterious. And whenever we watched it as kids, we were like, "Oh my god, I don't want to see him." But watching him and the rest of the franchise, it's like it's funny to us, like it's just not scary anymore.
Well, now that we're done with that, let's get into some of the behind the scenes info. The budget for this movie was between 4.3 to 4.6 million dollars, and they made $44.8 million back in the box office. Interesting facts. With opening in 1,343 theaters and debuting at number one with a weekend gross of 8.9 million, it was a record for independent films at the time. Despite Wes Craven not wanting to turn A Nightmare on Elm Street into a cheap slasher series like Friday the 13th, New Line Cinema always asked him if he wanted to return. For part 3, Craven did return and even wrote a script with Bruce Wagner, but New Line decided not to use it, but they did use a lot of plot points, characters, and concepts that original draft had. Ken Sagos, who plays the character of Kincaid, got his role by cursing up the director. Who the more you know. The most famous line, "Welcome to Primetime, bitch," wasn't scripted. Robert Englund came up with that on the spot. With this movie, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise invaded pop culture. There's a sudden slew of Freddy merch like dolls, lunchboxes, and even Freddy MTV video countdown hours. Not to mention, there was a popular song and music video called Dream Warriors by the popular rock band Dokken. This has a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. The New York Times wrote the film dream sequences are egregious, and they feature some remarkable nightmare imagery and special effects. Variety wrote that Russell's poor direction makes this film intended and unintended humor difficult to differentiate. Empire wrote that the film delivers amazing scenes in spades, bringing to life sort of bizarre images which used to be found only in comic book covers. The Chicago sometimes rated it a 1.5 out of 4 stars, and said that they liked the production values, but that it generated no sympathy for the character. Rudy, Maria, do you cash or pass A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors? Maria?
I'll cash. I think I really enjoyed this movie more than I thought I was going to be honest. For some reason, it just works. And like I said in the beginning, out of all like the slashers that we saw, where they had the slasher killing the people in like mental hospitals, I feel like this was the first one I saw where it actually worked, even though they kind of had a weird plot of the Dream Warriors, but they kind of, I don't know, it kind of worked out. And I also really did enjoy a lot of the effects that they did, like to Freddy. Um, I thought were different, compared to like the usual slashers where they're kind of just like slashing and killing people. I feel like this time it was different, I guess. So I liked it, so I will cash.
Rudy, cash or
I
pass?
also cash. I know I was complaining about some of the characters and just Freddy in general, but I do want to go back to how I used to make it fair for everyone who hasn't watched it, who's listening to us right now. Um, Everyone deserves to watch this movie just to have their own opinion and not just listen to my advice and my opinion on the movie and why I didn't like it or whatnot. It has some elements that were pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, like that scenes were good. The storyline could have been better, but don't we all like a cheesy '80s slasher flick? So yes, I do cash this one.
And I also cash. It's my favorite movie of the franchise, and for good or for bad, this is like what this movie gives us is what we're going to be going with for the rest of the franchise until I want to say either Freddy versus Jason or the remake is when they stop doing certain things that this movie gives us. I like the plot, I like the story, I like the concept, I like the characters. I like the final three like kids. They were pretty good. They fought hard. I liked I liked Freddy's jokes, but I don't like that Freddy is a jokester, if that makes any sense. But for me, it's cash all the way. Thank you guys so much. Good night. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?